All right, so got this video I want to talk about today about the minimum wage hikes. You know, we need $15 an hour minimum, and some places caved. Okay, we'll do it. Remember, was it Seattle? Zero Hedge says Seattle minimum wage hikes crushing the poor. 6,700 jobs lost. Annual wages down $1,500. University of, I guess, Wisconsin study. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say, I really wish it was, or these people who demanded $15 an hour in fast food, of course, McDonald's and whatnot, they could have that and all this would just work out. But again, when math's involved, math will tell you what you need to know, and there's no two ways around it. You know, if you've got $500 in your checking account and you write a check for $700, math is telling you you're in the red. $300, big problems, right? You can't argue with that. And math tells us you can't have $15 an hour minimum wage in fast food because it doesn't work. And we said, when they do this, get prepared to watch more workers be taken out. There'll be fewer left who will get $15 an hour, but the people taking your orders and that kind of thing are going to go away. And you'll just have a few people in the back, you know, cooking and whatever. So a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, but those who got to keep their jobs are going to be pretty happy. Hey, I'm getting $15 an hour now. So imagine if you and your girlfriend or wife or whoever, boyfriend, and hey, we just met, we're ready to, we're getting out of our houses, our, mom and dad, and we're living together now. Me and my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you may have, your spouse, your significant other. You probably would struggle badly with both y'all work minimum wage to live and pay the bills, right? And that's two people pitching in. My theory, not even theory, my thought is that in this country, in America, you should be able to work at any job at whatever minimum wage is set at and be able to live on your own and pay the normal bills that one person would be expected to pay these days. You know, your rent, electric bill, yeah, of course, water. I was going to say, got to have internet and stuff. You don't have to have cable TV, but you're going to have insurance as well. So you should be able to afford all that, even in a real small one-bedroom apartment somewhere. And I'm not talking in the ghetto. That's not where you should be able to say, hey, look, I'm living the American dream with minimum wage, and here's where I live. No. So first and foremost, that's, in my opinion, how it should be for everybody, whatever the minimum wage is set on. But the reality is that doesn't even cut it. So now you have two people making the equivalent of $30 an hour, or $28 if it's, well, yeah, it's $15, so $30 an hour. Thinking $14 for some reason. Now you're making $30 an hour, you and your other person, whatever, that you're living with. That's doable. You can certainly rent. Matter of fact, you can probably get a 2-bedroom, maybe a 3-bedroom somewhere, and pay the typical bills you would expect to pay. Not getting crazy or anything, but you could, right? But again, in order for that to happen, we're going to have to let go of a whole bunch more people. And essentially, that's what's going on here. So Zero Hedge is covering this. Just last week, we noted that McDonald's launched plans to replace 25 human cashiers with digital kiosks like the ones below, which you don't need to see it. Of course, no matter how much anecdotal and or hard evidence is presented to liberals on the negative consequences on higher minimum wages, they simply can't be convinced it's a bad idea. Somehow, the basic economic concept that raising the price of good, i.e. wages, would somehow destroy demand, i.e. employment levels, for that good just does not compute in the minds of progressives. Nevertheless, below is yet another study from economists at the University of Washington, that reveals some fairly startling takeaways about Seattle's minimum wage. For the chart below, minimum wages in Seattle increased from $11 in 2015 to $13 in 2016 and $15 in 2017 for large employers. To our total shock, the study found that higher minimum wages caused a 9.4% reduction to total hours worked by low-skilled workers, or roughly 14 million hours per year. Given that a full-time employee works 2,080 hours per year, that's equivalent to just over 6,700 full-time equivalents who have lost their jobs. just in the city of Seattle, courtesy of moronic politicians who don't seem to grasp basic mathematical concepts. Our preferred estimates suggest that the Seattle minimum wage ordinance caused hours worked by low-skilled workers, i.e. those earning under $19 an hour, to fall by 9.4% during the 3 quarters, when the minimum wage was $13 per hour, resulting in a loss of 3.5 million hours worked per calendar quarter. Alternative estimates show that the number of low-wage jobs declined by 6.8%, which represents a loss of more than 5,000 jobs. These estimates are robust to cutoffs other than $19.45. A 3.1% increase in wages in jobs that paid less than $19 coupled with a 9.4% loss in hours yields a labor demand elasticity of roughly minus 3.0. And this largely elasticity estimate is robust in other cutoffs. Adding insult to injury, pay hikes were not nearly enough to offset the lost hours. Importantly, the lost income associated with the hours reductions exceeds the gain associated with the net wage increase of 3.1%. Using data in Table 3, we compute that the average low-wage employee was paid $1,897 per month. The reduction in hours would cost the average employee $179 per month, while the wage increase would recoup only $54 of this loss, leaving a net loss of $125 per month, or 6.6%, which is sizable for a low-wage worker, right? Every dollar counts. To our complete surprise, the study found that demand for low-wage jobs is more elastic than prior studies from more liberal institutions, from what they may have suggested. Shockingly, low-wage jobs are apparently particularly susceptible to automation. Who knew? The results suggest a fundamental rethink of the nature of low-wage work. Prior elasticity estimates in the range from 0 to minus 0.2 suggest there are few suitable substitutes for low-wage employees, that firms faced with labor cost increases have little option but to raise their wage bill. Seattle data shows, even in simple first differences, that payroll expenses on workers earning under $19 an hour either rose minimally or fell as the minimum wage increased from $9.47 to $13 in just over 9 months. An elasticity of minus 3 suggests that low-wage labor is a more susceptible, expendable factor of production. The work of least paid workers might be performed more efficiently by more skilled and experienced workers commanding a substantially higher wage. This work could, in some circumstances, be automated. In other circumstances, employers may conclude that the work of least paid workers need not be done at all. Here is a look at the estimate percentage. Don't need to look at that. Total hours, don't need to look at that. Conclusion, we do need to look at that. Conclusion, keep up the good fight, Bernie. Bernie Sanders. With policies like these, Nancy Pelosi may be the least of the Democrats' worries. And give you a little screenshot of this guy, because this is, we're protesting for more money. We need more money. Fight for 15. Fight for 15. Yeah, baby. All African American. I do see what looks like a Hispanic possibly in the bottom left here, right over here. Right? I bring that up because, let's got to be real. I'm real news. A percentage of the poor in this country, are they mostly, ethnic, or are they white? Let's be real. They're not white. Now, we definitely have some poor white people for sure. But we have to face the music here. People, black, Hispanic, etc., are going to be the ones who work the most minimum wage jobs, etc., because that's what our statistics show us. So I got to keep it real. Not picking on anybody. So fight for 15. He wants 15. They all want 15, yeah. But what they want least is to be the one who got cut and lost the job. And now they can't get $15 an hour anywhere because they ain't even got a freaking job. Worse yet, maybe they got the $15 an hour job, raise, In the cashiers, again, they're gone, replaced by automated screens. And now they are working happily at $15 an hour in the back. But like Zero Hedge just covered, we're cutting your hours a little bit. And they cut your hours to where the raise is now meaningless. What, are you going to go find a part-time job for, a few hours a week? Is that even worth your time? Absolutely not. You'd rather just take the little pay cut, so to speak, at the end of the week or month and say, well, I'm only working, 35 hours instead of 40. I got a little extra time on my hand. I'd rather screw off on my computer or watch TV or whatever. Play on my phone. When you should be saying, I'm going to save up as many of these minimum wage checks as I can. I've heard these people talking about these cryptos lately. I'm going to get in on the cryptocurrency action and clean some house. Yeah. So anyways, again, it's math. It's something that politicians don't know for some reason. They don't care. They just want votes, and that's all that matters. And again, it's the Democrats that are doing this. It's always the Democrats. Why? Because my dad told me, young age, when you can vote, you always vote for the Democrat. I don't care who it is. You always vote Democrat. And I asked Papa why. Papa, please tell me why, Papa. Actually, I just said, Dad, why? Because the Democrats are for the people, the little guy, and the Republicans are for the big business. Big business, rich folks, that's who they're for. Okay, makes sense. That was cut and dry, and that's what I'll do. And then sometime around 2005, I started doing my own research, as I mentioned, and started waking up and all this. And I come to the conclusion, really, there's no left or right, to be honest with you. But when you do really look at them, left and right, the Democrats and the Republicans, it sure is the Democrats who really promise everybody the world, knowing they can't deliver. So I gotta be real. Not voting for a Democrat, not anytime soon. Unfortunately, maybe I could say that, but I've seen enough. Not doing it. So I'm out. On to the next one. Take care.